Well, I'm pretty certain that the polling data is not very accurate. It wasn't very accurate in 2016, and I'm quite sure with all the violence and unrest that's been going on across the country, particularly in some of these, sanctuary states and all this sort of stuff, I'm pretty sure that the polling data is less accurate now than ever. In fact, I'm of the opinion that the political system is so screwed up that the polls are strategically the polling is kind of strategically done. In other words, trying to show trends in place, trying to show momentum, questions asked in ways, who knows what kind of accuracy we have in the polling. I know it's pretty low. So my guess is that the polling probably is skewed something like high single digits towards progressive Joe Biden, if you want to score the presidential election. I think he's probably, the forward polling is probably in the high single digits too high for Biden. It's impossible to get, an analytical read on this because this is highly intuitive. But that's what my guess is. I also think that Joe Biden is really tilting very, very hard away from the wooing of the progressive wing of the party that he did earlier this year. I mean, he's got this new line, do I look like a socialist? Which I think is just a horrible line, because I don't know what a socialist looks like, and there's just something very weird about do I look like this in our world of identity politics, the supercharged situation that we're living in. But one thing that I do believe that people are not talking about is I think that to the extent that people are fed up with Trump, and there's certainly a lot of people that are, to the extent they're fed up with Trump, I'm starting to get the feeling that it's not going to have coattails down the party. I don't think people are going to I don't think there's going to be a sweep, a Democratic sweep. I think Biden can certainly win. There's still a month to go. Who knows what's going to happen? My conviction in the 2016 election was just steadfast. I knew that Hillary was not going to win, therefore that Trump was going to win. I thought that Trump would win this time, and I still lean that way, but my conviction is very low compared to 2016. Maybe in a few weeks I'll have higher conviction, but I don't think the Senate is going to move to the Democrats. So I think we'll still have that divided situation. I think who's better for markets, it seems that Trump's been pretty good for the market. And yet, as Trump's poll numbers have fallen, it's an undisputed fact that the stock market has held up. So I think that the market just wants the election to get over with, and for that reason has been treading water for quite some time, even though it's relatively strong. It's really, in essence, been treading water since July. And so I think that ultimately the market would prefer Trump, but I think the market certainly would want not a Democratic sweep. I know the narrative that came out of the news after the debate where people decided that they didn't like Trump's interruptions and all that stuff. When it came out, there was a narrative that developed that, a Democratic sweep is good for the market. I really strongly disagree with that. So I think the market is more suggesting that the Senate is retained by the Republicans, and whether it's Joe Biden or Trump, I think is even less important than us not getting a one-party government. Because the one-party government, I think, would tank the market tremendously, because there would be a growing awareness that a one-party situation, given the Democratic rhetoric, could be really monumentally problematic for the future of the country if they're going to pack the court in particular, which I know Biden won't even talk about, which is frustrating to me. He gets asked a direct question and he won't answer it. That suggests to me that he doesn't want to pack the court, which would be a huge positive. Packing the court would be probably the worst possible outcome, because given the political environment that we're in, the vitriol on both sides, I think the purpose of packing the court would be to have essentially an institutionalized one-party government, and one that would probably lean pretty heavily towards socialist policies, which they've been tried before, these policies. There's a place called Venezuela that tried it. There was a place called Zimbabwe that tried money printing. There was a place called the Weimar Republic that tried money printing, and there was a thing called the French Revolution in the 18th century that was born of money printing starting in 1773. So that would be the worst possible outcome. And maybe I'm analyzing a little bit with my heart, but I do believe in my head as well that we're not going to end up in that situation.